Hello there, welcome to Venture Capital. This week, the British Prime Minister David Cameron is being forced to think outside of the box, or outside of his borders, I should say, in order to drum up some much-needed cash for the country. Details in just a minute on that one. We've also got the very first Bitcoin ATM. It went live this week. We'll be discussing the implications of that. Corporate news to come. Our in-house investor, Mr. Sean Thomas, he's poised at the business desk to tell us what he's been up to. And the World Bank gave Russia a bit of a boost this week as well. So it's all still to come. But let's first talk about Mr. Cameron. So he's hoping to attract Muslim money by becoming the first country to issue an Islamic bond outside of the Muslim world. The UK hopes to offer a £200 million Islam-friendly bond known as a Sukuk as early as next year. It will conform to Sharia law, which bans interest and gambling. Now, the Prime Minister is also planning to launch a new Islam index. RT's Polly Boyko explains exactly why Mr. Cameron is so eager to appeal to this part of the world.
British Muslims contribute at least £30 billion to the economy here, while UK banks offer more Islamic services than in any other Western country. In fact, Islamic funding has propped up some of the capital's largest developments, including the Shard and the Olympic Village. But critics say the welcoming approach doesn't go beyond investment. British politicians have in the past rejected proposals to recognise Sharia law in certain areas with large Muslim populations, while a recent debate in Parliament centred on whether or not to penalise local Sharia courts, which help British Muslims resolve family issues. And when a small group of locals tried to impose Sharia law in London's East End, the response was that of horror. But when it comes to the potential gold mine that is Muslim money, the City of London's Lord Mayor recently said that Islamic finance should be as British as fish and chips and the FA Cup final. Reporting from the City of London, I'm Polly Boyko.
Thank you there, Polly. Now, we're going to stay in London for now and join Ishaq Siddiqui from ETX Capital and find out what the finance world makes of these Islamic bonds. Is it a good idea, and will it bring more investment into the city?
I think it's a sensible idea. It's long overdue. It's been in the pipeline for some time now, but given the fact that we had a bit of a turmoil in the financial market in the UK, we had to see that backtracked, and now UK policymakers are bringing this back into the front. I think it's very encouraging for inducing more investment into the UK, given the fact that the UK is now contemplating its membership in the EU in 2017. It's going to have to look for other avenues in order to induce investment, and why not attract a $1.2 trillion market?
And what about potential problems, though? Could there be any with their introduction?
Islamic finance is a whole new beast when it comes to your traditional forms of Western banking, and there is a slight concern that it may take over the Islamic financing system, could cannibalize that, given the fact that there is an issue with interest when it comes to Islamic finance. Interest is strictly prohibited.
There are certain attitudes, people saying, oh, we don't want these Islamic bonds, we don't want foreign takeovers, especially when it comes to things like football clubs or Harrods, whatever it may be. What would be your response to that attitude then?
Well, I think that attitude is not placed accurately. I think a lot of people need to do their diligence on Islamic finance and what it actually means. It's not something. It may sound a little scary given the fact that it's quite new and unheard of in the Western world, but really it's going to induce far more investment in the UK. We've already seen that with the likes of the Shard building in London Bridge. We also had that with, like you said, Harrods, and also at the same time the Olympic Athletes Village during the 2012 Olympics. It's going to create more jobs in the UK, which is very key when it comes to monetary policy and economic health for the UK going forward. We know that the Bank of England have a target in place for unemployment, so more jobs is better for the UK economy.
OK, Ishaq Siddiqui there from ETX Capital. Thank you for your take on the matters from the financial world, giving us an insider's view. This week, the very first Bitcoin ATM went live in a cafe in Vancouver, Canada. So now people can actually exchange the digital currency for cash while enjoying a cup of coffee. So just to recap then, Bitcoins are stored in an anonymous online web wallet. The system is totally separate from any bank or government. Users can buy products and services online or in a handful of stores if they want to, and can exchange it into other currencies as well, so say the US dollar, for example. So are we now entering a new virtual currency? Well, I'm now joined by Dr. William Wilson here from the Skolkovo Business School to help me understand this. So, does this mean that the Bitcoin is finally becoming more mainstream?
Yeah. Well, the Bitcoin is far from becoming mainstream. The fact is, most merchants in the West will not accept it, aren't even familiar with it. That said, the currency was first issued as recently as 2009, so it's only 4 years old. But in that 4-year period, I think it's been very successful because the market value of the Bitcoin against all other currencies, the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, has risen enormously. So the market the ultimate judge of value over the past 4 years has said, I like the Bitcoin.
But if we talk about the market, it has had a rather volatile performance, though, hasn't it? And that's to do with accusations, money laundering, drug smuggling. It could be doing better, though, the Bitcoin. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. With any asset, if there's not much liquidity, there tends to be a lot of volatility in prices. Right now, there are only 11 million Bitcoins in circulation, so to speak.
Yeah.
So as the Bitcoin becomes more widely used by merchants, you'll see the price volatility begin to drop over time.
And can we delve into how you get hold of a Bitcoin? Because as I understand it, with this ATM in Vancouver, you still have to already have an account, don't you, a Bitcoin account? Yeah. So how do you get them in the first place? Yeah. I know it's very complex. But
it's a bit complex. If you want a Bitcoin, you need to purchase a digital wallet online, and then you go to a coin network, and from there you actually would purchase the Bitcoins with foreign currencies.
So you don't have to be tech savvy then, do you?
You don't, but I think to understand the concept of the Bitcoin, and I'm an economist, it took me a while to really comprehend what a Bitcoin was. I think that most users have to be pretty tech savvy. Yeah. I couldn't picture my parents using it.
No, that's what I'm thinking with my mum. Let's go forward and think about the future of virtual currencies, because we've got the Bitcoin at the moment, mixed reviews for the Bitcoin. But what about other currencies? Do you think that this is the future?
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, this great financial crisis we've had the past 5 years has brought about the Bitcoin. The fact is, you look at the US dollar, the world's great reserve currency. The U.S. debt now is 100% of GDP. 2 weeks ago, we came within 12 hours of defaulting on our debt. We know all the problems that the Eurozone is having. The other major reserve currency, of course, is the Japanese yen. Their debt is over 200% of GDP. So the market is saying at some point, these governments will print money to pay for their debts, which will cause a depreciation of these currencies. And the market's worried about that. And so I think as a consequence, what you'll see is a lot more of these digital coins coming onto the market over the next few years.
Thank you there to Dr. William Wilson there from the Skolkovo Business Hub, giving us his take on the Bitcoin. It seems that everyone's got an opinion on the coin, whether it be good or bad. And I spoke to Daniel Bruno. He's from the First National Innovation Brokers, and he argues that illegal practices are undertaken using traditional currencies as well.
The number one currency for money laundering is the United States dollar. But nobody is blaming the dollar and nobody is thinking about banishing it. So it's a matter of what people choose to do. And when there is a powerful tool such as digital money, such as Bitcoin or Swift coin, they can be abused just like anything else. So that's not an argument. It's a double standard against digital currencies.
All right, time for corporate news now then. And the world's leading brand consultancy, Interbrand, says that the Gazprom trademark is Russia's strongest brand, with an estimated value of $39 billion. The gas giant accounted for almost half of the combined value of 40 brands in the study. And Russia's state nuclear energy corporation, Rosatom, has won a contract to build and operate the first nuclear power plant in Jordan. The $10 billion reactor project is one of the world's first since the disaster at Japan's Fukushima in 2011. All right, staying with Russian business then for now. We're going to join our Mr. Sean Thomas. He plays the Russian stock market with company cash, my favourite part of the show. Sean, you're back in Moscow. What have you been up to? How's trading?
Indeed. Well, the trip was great. The trading, not so much. Things this week, whether it's a technological glitch or something, it's just not going the way it should go.
Boo.
In fact, Yandex, that's what we were in. Overall, they've been going gangbusters. However, this week, they're down 4.5%, which means I took a thrashing. I was taken to the cleaners, and I lost $454, which brings my grand total down to $9,000, Oh, that's just not good.
That is a battering, Sean. That really is not good at all. And you're still smiling, though. I love it. You've lost money, but you're smiling.
Well, you know, it's one of those things. You got to keep a positive attitude about the whole thing. Actually, I have an idea. Since I'm not doing too well on my own, and this is sort of a game that we're playing, why don't we do the whole phone a friend or the ask the audience thing? I know that we post this show on YouTube and also onto RT.com. If anyone out there who's watching has any ideas on Russian stocks, send them to us in the comments. I'll be happy to take a look. Maybe that can help me get on track for next week. But I'm looking, you know, I know that we were talking about Gazprom earlier in the show and how it's kind of this big Russian brand. I think I'm going to go in, try and get on that brand recognition and do Gazprom for this week to see if I can recoup some of my losses. Okay,
that sounds good to me, Sean. And, you know, you say you're an amateur and all of that, but you're about 3 months in now, so we want some results, we really do. And I think that you've been partying and jet-setting too much.
A little too much.
You need to rein it in, boy.
Oh, all right.
All right, then. See you next week. Take care. And the World Bank has revealed its annual Doing Business report. And Russia has advanced 20 places. But there's no need for a party just yet, because at 92nd place, there's still a long way to go. But at least it's in the top 100 and ahead of China as well, which came in at 96, would you believe? Russia was also named one of the top 3 countries in terms of having improved its business climate in the last year. Now, Singapore got the top spot for the best place to run a business for the 8th year in a row. All right, that is Venture Capital done and dusted for this week. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Goodbye.